my question was, what is the difference between core litigation and corporate practice?
Okay. So, core litigation is going to the courts, appearing before the bench, and presenting your case. That is litigation. You go to the court or you go to the tribunal and you present your case. And then there is non-litigation. Non-litigation side of the space is looking at, say, for example, looking at IPR and only being concerned with, the drafting side of the space or the commercial side of the space. You don't go to the court or you don't visit the tribunal and you don't present in front of them. You just practice, you just be a part of the non-litigation or the drafting side of the space. Now, corporate law also has both the options. Any big company, for example, TCS or, Google or Facebook, Meta, any big companies that you name, or even smaller startups like Zomato, for example, all of these companies also have their own legal teams. Now, some of the companies would prefer outsourcing it. Why bigger companies don't recommend outsourcing is that if I am a third party and I am not associated with Curious Sapiens, my personal interest to take up Curious Sapiens का कोई भी case on priority will not be there, unless they're paying me maybe 200% more than what other clients pay me. So, as a third party, one client is not going to be my priority. I will have a portfolio of clients that I would look at. So I would obviously, not prioritize one of them if all of them are almost paying me at the same level or at the same grade. So that is why bigger companies would not recommend outsourcing and they will have their own legal teams. Now, whenever a corporate firm or a corporate house or an MNC is going to have their own legal team, there are going to be two bifurcations, actually three bifurcations. So they will also have a litigation team, and usually the person who has been in litigation and non-litigation both is somebody who then gets to chair that particular team or really grows to that level. So maybe become a CLO at some point in time, a chief legal officer for an organization. So if you have experience of both litigation and non-litigation, because then you will understand what is the ground reality. Anything that you will read in books is going to be very different from the practical world. That's with all the industries and with law as well. So there's a litigation side of the space for corporate houses also. Then they will also have a non-litigation side of the space. Those guys would be largely around drafting of legal documents, agreements, looking at commercial contracts, all of those things. So on the more on the drafting side of the space. And then on the third aspect, they also have an information security team. So all of these, now as a corporate house you will have a lot of third party information also. And if you are somebody who has 2 lakh employees, imagine the amount of information and the amount of data that you're going to have. Who is going to ensure that there is no data leakage which happens? So then there is a third segment of information security guys who only work around data. Their major job is compliance. They will only look at compliance. So they will work around information, around data, around copyrights, around around agreements, how to ensure that there are no data leakages, there's no cyber crime which is happening, there are no bugs in the website, there's nobody who hacks their website. So that's the third segment that they have. Corporate law is, that's one major tree, and then there are multiple branches. So you will, once you enter that particular industry, you will, initially in your first year or in your second year, you will get to do everything. And then slowly you can specialize in, pick one particular area, and then you can grow in that area. My recommendation to you would be, if you're somebody who's practicing, take 2 years experience, enter a corporate. If you want to move to the corporate side of the space, you can absolutely do well there. They'll pay you well. Or you can, if you want to be well paid, you can also pick up cyber law and information security as something that you can specialize in. It's a very well paid stream, so you can do a lot of certifications. CISO is one certification that people do when they are in the information security space. So it's a very well paid area in under corporate law, so you can pick that segment as well. So does it answer your question, Anmol?
Ma'am, it does not. Thank you.
Okay. All right. So,
Nehal,
guys,
we have another question along the same lines that I've received. Rubika, can we take your question just after this one? So Tushti's asked me that is practicing law nearly the same as studying law? I've heard that practicing law can get boring and tedious. How can, I guess your thoughts on that?
okay. So no, it's absolutely not the same. See, anything can become, I think everything that you do is tedious. You ask a teacher how tedious her job is. She would not want to, she would not recommend anybody to become a teacher. So everything's going to be tedious. Absolutely, the ball rolls down to what is your area of interest. If your area of interest is something that you want to, if your area of interest is law, then you won't get bored, and you won't the monotony of the space is not going to affect you. Why I would say that is it's not the same every day, because on an average, a practicing lawyer or a litigation lawyer who has a very good practice, or senior advocate, would on an average have about um, a minimum of 50 to 70 odd cases in a month. Now, if you're looking at 50 to 70 odd cases in a month, how is it, that's not going to be monotonous for you? So out of these 50 or 70 cases that you have, if even 20 cases are new cases which you get every month, then it's not going to be monotony for you. It will be a new flavor every day. So, but it's definitely tedious. And what is not tedious is my question to you. I think every area is very, very tedious. You will have to put in a lot of work, a lot of effort. You ask Aditi how comfortable is she in developing her own ecosystem, and she will tell you that it's so frustrating sometimes. When there are bugs that keep coming in. Or if you ask me how easy is my life, I would say that never join a corporate. But even with somebody who's doing, who's in litigation, it's going to be the same. Everybody puts in, if you're looking for a pure 9 to 5 job, I don't think that you're going to get anything like that. Not, I have personally not seen anybody just sitting in a 9 to 5 job, and then at 5 they just clock out, and they also clock out their brains. Never happens. I have personally, in my experience, never seen it. It's just that when you grow the ladder, you develop that sort of an ecosystem around you. You have other people who are working for you, so that's when it's easier for you as a manager to really enjoy that particular bracket. But when you're starting up, at least in the first 3 or 4 years of your career, it's never going to be easy. Everything's going to be tedious. So if you're interested in law, then it's not going to be monotonous for you, but it's very different from what you study theoretically. Practically, it's more interesting, I would say. Personally, I feel that practically it's more interesting because there are so many funny cases. Yeah, like I'll give you one example. So there was this very famous case back in 2019. There was this guy in Bihar. It took him 18 years. So in India, there is a law which says that if in 7 years, continuously in 7 years, there should not be any breakage. So if in 7 years, nobody knows about your whereabouts, your family, your friends, anybody who's closer to you, they've not heard about you, they don't know where you are, you're like, you've just vanished. So if it's it continues for a 7-year stretch, then you're presumed dead. And they can, if say for example you have a partner, you married, so if for 7 years they don't know where you are and you've just vanished, so after 7 years they will presume you dead, and your partner will also be free to marry somebody else. And if all of a sudden you appear after 8 years or 10 years and you start claiming that, okay, this person's married somebody else but I am alive, so that doesn't make that second marriage illegal, because nobody knew that you were there for 7 years. So that's a presumption of law, that okay, we've not heard about you for 7 years. 7 years is a very, very long time, so we are presuming that you're dead by now. That is why nobody in your family or your friends, your circle, nobody has heard about you. So there was this guy, his name was Ramlal. He was from Bihar, and it took him 18 years, 18 long years to prove before the court that he's alive. And he was there in person. Like, I am there in person, but I still have to go to the court every other day or every other month whenever there's a hearing. And I have to give them evidence that I am that person and I am alive. I am here in person, in body. And you can see me. So it was a very funny case that happened. And that guy, Ramlal, he went to extreme levels to prove that he's alive. Like, once what happened, so that case went on for 18 years. 18 years he had to fight that battle. And he got so frustrated that once he planned and executed a kidnapping of one of his cousins, so that he gets arrested. And when he gets arrested, there's a record that comes in the in the police station, and that's how he can use that record as evidence to prove that he is alive and he is that person. So he did all of these things, and still it took him 18 years to prove that he's alive. So these are some things, these are some funny instances which happen, and you come across all of these things every other day. There's somebody who's coming to you with some of their silly, some people will have very silly complaints and problems and issues. So it's never going to be the same, so there's no monotony when it comes to law. But I think it's something very subjective as well. So you will, whatever career option you're picking, not just law, any career option that you pick, you will have to really make your mind, and only then go after it, then go about it. But if you don't, if that's not something that's going to interest you, then no area is going to interest you like that. Okay, so does that answer your question?
Tushti, yeah, she's saying yes.
Okay. And then I think we had another question, right?
Yeah, I think
Ruvika
Ruvika,
had a
yeah,
question.
Ruvika had a question. Ruvika, do you want to unmute yourself?
So should I say it right here?
Yeah.
So I just wanted to know, I think it's a bit off the ground, but I just wanted to know about the high paying lawyers.
You want to know their names?
No. I want to know,
What areas they've been in?
Sorry?
What areas they're in?
Yes. The possibly ones.
Okay. So this is very subjective, to be honest, Ruvika, because see, litigation is very well paying. To be honest, it takes some time for you to start, but after 3 years, 4 years, or maybe after 7 or 8 years of really putting your time, we've seen lawyers like Ram Jethmalani who charge 20 lakhs for just appearing before the court for 10 minutes. So this is absolutely depends on your hard work and what path you're carving for yourself. But if you're looking for something which is a little easy and predictable, if you're looking for something like that, then corporate side of the space can be very, very predictable for you, because you know that, okay, if I'm really working hard and I'm doing whatever I can, then after 2 years I'm going to get promoted, and when I get promoted I'm going to, get a salary hike, I'm going to look at appraisals, and this is something that I'm going to take home every month or every year. So there's predictability when it comes to the corporate side of the space. Likewise, law firms are, they law firms also have two departments. There's again litigation and non-litigation. Non-litigation side of the space is a little underpaid because you're more on the drafting side. You just day in day out you're only drafting agreements and you're drafting contracts. Doesn't make it less valuable. If you don't draft it well, your applications can be rejected by the court. If an agreement is not drafted well, you might put your organization in a lot of legal trouble. So it doesn't make it less valued as a career option, but yeah, it's a little underpaid. And then litigation is very, very well paid, but it takes a lot of time for you to set your footing. I know lawyers who make, who also make 10 to 11 lakhs or 12 lakhs per month, or sometimes, even more than that. So I know lawyers like that as well. And then I know lawyers, who are in the litigation space, who hardly they're able to make their ends meet. So it depends on what area you're choosing. If you want predictability, then corporate side is something that you must opt for. They really pay you well. And if by chance any of you also pursues a CS course, and just like CA, I'm sure you would have heard about CS as well. So if you pursue CS as a course, then with law and CS as a combination, you become really well paid. Then on the corporate side, you will also find a lot of lawyers who are more on the entertainment, who are in the entertainment industry. Like Viacom will have their own team of lawyers. Then there would be Balaji, who's going to have their own team of lawyers. Then mergers and acquisition as an industry has a different set of lawyers. So corporate side is more predictable, pays well, and you know that as you climb the ladder you're going to make more money. But if litigation is something that you want to pursue, then you will really have to invest a lot of time. At least the first 4 or 5 years you will really have to invest, and only then you will start seeing a lot of return. So does that answer your question, Ruvika?
Yes, thank you so much. And do all lawyers have to go to the court every time to solve, or just like?
No. That's why there's a difference between litigation and non-litigation. I don't go to the court every day, maybe once in a month or 2 months. So depends, right, what area you choose. If you're a non-litigation lawyer, you will not have to go to the court. If you are a litigation lawyer, then you will have to go to the court every day.
All right, thank you.
All right. Okay. Any other questions that you have, guys?
Yeah, I had a question.
Yeah, Anya.
I actually really enjoy writing as well, and I've also recently started taking an interest in subjects pertinent to law. So is there some career that could sort of combine these two interests and bring them together?
Yes, non-litigation is one that you can absolutely look at if you want to get into drafting side of the space. So why I say drafting is very important is because, for example, you're drafting an agreement, and if you're not somebody who's very good with your vocabulary and you're not very good at writing, you won't be able to use the same sentence and maybe bring around different meanings to it. So, for example, if you're framing an employment agreement for your employer that the other employees of the company will have to sign, so you will have to be very careful to keep the interests of your employer in mind while you're drafting that agreement. And that's where your writing skills or your vocabulary and how strong is your command on the language will come in the picture. Then second option that you will always have is legal research and legal research as a career option. Now, courts, judges also need a lot of researchers to write the judgments. So that's another option that you can pick as a career option. Then legal researchers are also there to, frame a lot of I would say a lot of curriculum or research and find out a lot of details about one particular topic and then frame the curriculum around it. So that's another career option that you can pick as a legal researcher. Their writing is going to come in the picture for you. Then legal journalism is something that you can absolutely look at. Oh, that you don't have to be a journalist for that. If you don't have to pursue your mass comm for that. Basically, if you are a lawyer and if that's something that interests you, you can become a legal journalist also, and vice versa. If you've done your mass comm, you're a journalist but you want to specialize in legal side of the space only, so you can pick that particular option as well. So that's again where your command over your language, writing or spoken, all of those areas would come in the picture. So you can look at that as well. Yeah, largely this. Then you will find a lot of copyright writers as well. Those are guys who are technical writers. They write a lot of product descriptions and they frame a lot of disclaimers around the products. So you can do that as well, but that's going to become a little monotonous after some time. You won't find a lot of flavor there. You won't get to do a lot of different things after the initial couple of months. So
All right, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, that really sort of opens things up a lot more for me.
Great. Any other question, guys?
Question.
Yes, I did.
Sorry, I missed on
I
the.
have a-
Kapil, yeah, Kapil, do you want to
Can
go
you tell
first?
me your name first and then your question, please?
My name is Kapil.
Okay, yeah.
And,
Kapil.
I am currently pursuing Pol Science honors second year. So
Mhm.
next year is when I will give my entrance exam to law. What I wanted to ask you is that once you get into law, how do you get a internship under a big lawyer or a judicial clerkship?
Okay, so the best option to get internships is number one, let your professors know that you're looking for internships, and they will probably link you up with good lawyers in the industry that they would know, or their maybe their batchmates who are now pursuing litigation as a career. They will absolutely help you. Colleges also have internship programs, which are mandatory internship programs. You will have to choose every summers and at least during summers and winters. So you can enroll for those as well. My personal recommendation to you would be become very, very active on LinkedIn. Use LinkedIn as a platform to reach out to lawyers and let them know that, hey, I'm here and I exist and I'm looking for an internship. You might not you might not get 100% positive rewards, but even if you've reached out to 20 people and 2 of them revert, that's a good number. So you can use LinkedIn as a platform as well. And when you're visiting the courts, you can visit the courts and let them know that hey, I'm looking for an internship and I've heard a lot about you. So do your own due diligence before you reach out to anybody, and everyone loves to hear about them. If you reach out to me and you tell me, hey Neha, I read that particular case about you, or I've done my due diligence about you and I know that this is what you do, I would you will get my attention. So do your own due diligence, be very smart when you're reaching out to those guys. And you can if your teachers are not helping or the college is not helping, just go to the court, and whatever lawyers you've heard about, you can go introduce yourself to them, write them emails, ask them for their email addresses, or if you want to give a handwritten application, you can do that as well. Some of the senior advocates, you'd see they're not very tech savvy, so you can very well just hand over a typed application to them and they might help you. So these are some very basic and very easy ways to get your internships. But largely, I've seen that colleges and the professors help. And then you will find a lot of friends. You will make a lot of good friends when you're pursuing your law. And majority of them would not be first generation lawyers. So you can always let them know that, hey, I'm looking to intern. If anybody in your family can help me, so they might help you as well. And you won't get a lot of stipend also, so lawyers always appreciate easy help whenever they're getting it. And interns for them are, they really help them with drafting and doing a lot of legal research. So they will always appreciate an additional hand of help. So you can do that as well. That's why I told you, Kapil, in the very beginning only, that networking is one quality that you must have as a lawyer, and that's really going to help you. If you are not good at networking, you will not be able to make those connections.
Thank you, ma'am. But I also please elaborate more on the judicial clerkship part.
Okay, I'll do that. So on the judicial clerkship, now there are two options that you get. You can either start interning with a judge, and then once you're interning with a judge, you can then slowly let them know that you're also looking for a judicial clerkship, and they can help you with regards to that. Or sometimes courts also have their own very basic entrance exams that they have for judicial clerks. So you can appear for those exams as well. Different courts are going to have different dates or different interviews that they organize for this. You can appear for that as well, and they might also help you to get through. Or just intern with judges, let them know that you're looking at it, they'll help you out.
Thank you, ma'am, for that answer.
No problem. Okay. Any other question, guys?
I have a question. Like, since I am, like fascinated since I love entertainment and law equally. So, what are the subject combinations that would help me, get there, and how would that be possible?